time. Something has got to happen because we can no longer go down the path that we're going down. This country won't last another 6 months. This country won't last another 12 months if something doesn't happen. So it's time to flip the switch. It's time to get involved. It's time to move the line forward. And if you're not part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. So I don't care what flip the switch is. I don't care if that means that all of this nonsense is nonsense, or if some of it's true.
I can do this.
I forgot to push the camera button. Just the look on your face was priceless.
Hey, I was getting ready to go. I'm like, what are you doing? I can handle it.
Oh, hello. Welcome, Warriors, World Patriots, and my fellow Americans. My name is Mike. I'm the host of Liberty Warrior. Give me liberty or give me death. Today is Tuesday, March 29th, 2022. Listen, folks, it is almost, I've been saying it all day because it's mind-blowing to me that it is almost the end of March. So we got January, February, March. It's the end of the first quarter of the new year, and we're getting ready to start the new first quarter, or the second quarter of this year, which is April 1st on Friday.
Mhm.
That we have just flown through almost 90 days, like in a blink of an eye.
We have, and it's been an exciting 90 days. I'm going to say, and the next 90 ought to be super exciting as well, even more
Yeah,
so. Especially if we start off
yeah.
like what you just did to me. I've got a feeling my next 90 days aren't going to go so easy.
Jay says, "Howdy, Tammy. You're prettier than Mike."
Thanks,
Come
Jay.
on, Jay. I just said how beautiful you were the other day. Come on, Jay.
He's making up with me. Hey, Bobby Copeland, how are you? It's
All
been a
right.
busy
Well,
day. It's been an exciting day, Mike. We'll get
it's been
into
a
it, but
crazy day. I think my days are getting crazier.
I agree. I think you kind of push that onto other people, not meaning to sometimes too. I think I have to start keeping a safe distance, put a wall up so I don't absorb it.
So you want to know what I did this afternoon, Tammy?
All right. Yes, I do.
Okay, so I needed to get out of the house because I feel like I get cramped up, especially when the weather's nice. So I go outside and the weather is breezy, so it's not really wonderful. I took a walk today, but I just wasn't feeling it. It's too hot in the house, it's too cold outside. So I went and hung out in the car for about 3 hours.
Like the cool dude you are.
And so I drove down to the park here in town.
Okay.
And I just kind of laid the chair back. I had a couple of meetings. I was all laid back in the car, and then I come home and I just don't want to get out of the car. So I ended up falling asleep in my driveway in the car.
That's very sad. LW style, that's for sure. Wow. Mike, that's
The sun was coming through the window. It felt so warm. And so it got too hot. So I rolled the window down. And next thing I know, I woke myself up because I was snoring. So that's been part of my day today. Yeah, for
That's
sure.
very interesting. It's a very interesting thing. At least you got the fresh air. I'm glad that you didn't get sunburned or anything. So that's a good thing. Mhm.
Well, I'm definitely I was a little red on top the other day.
Mhm.
So I decided I'm gonna have to wear a hat. I got to protect the old cranium there.
You do. What's inside of
Mhm.
it's very important as well. We don't want anything
Oh,
absorbing through.
I don't know about
We don't
that.
want that.
Sometimes that thing's a mess. You don't want to go there.
We don't want it to leak out, is my point. So keep it safely guarded.
Yeah. Well, we got some things to talk about tonight. And we got some things that we need to share with you guys as well. Some heavy stuff tonight. And maybe some of you know it, maybe some of you don't. I wanted to open up tonight lighthearted and just with some laughter and some joy and some fun because there's somebody out there that we want to recognize their life and be able to share some stories and some joy that they brought to LWN and to my life personally, and I know to a lot of the viewers out there as well. And some news that I need to share with you guys. I think I'm just gonna Tammy go ahead share that now, and then we'll do
Yeah.
something at the end of the show as well. I received an email today, and with a heavy heart, I have to. I did check this. The person that sent it to me was legit, and with a heavy heart, I just have to tell you guys that we lost a warrior, Matt. Tactical Tonto has passed away. He has been on the show several times. I've done a couple shows with him. He's called in. He's been on my outdoor show many times, and so please keep him in your prayers, and please keep the family in your prayers. We're gonna do a little part for him tonight as well. We'll give people an opportunity to call in if you guys would like to call in and just wish the family well. Maybe tell a story or two if you guys got something you'd like to share. But yeah, we lost Matt, and Tammy personally has tried to reach out to him several times in the past couple of months, and she couldn't figure out why she wasn't getting the response she was looking for. And so, from what I read, it said that he passed away from various medical issues. That's all I can tell you guys. just various medical issues. I don't know what they were. They didn't go into detail. Matt was a wonderful, wonderful um, person,
Mhm.
human being, Christian, father, husband, um, you know, friend, son, you name it. He served our military proud. He also served his country when he came back from the military as as also a police officer. So
Mhm.
it's just like I said, with a heavy heart. I really wish the family the best, and just we keep them in your prayers. And we want to recognize him here shortly, and we'll give you guys an opportunity to call in. But Tammy also has some things she would like to uh, tell you guys today. Some things that she was able to do, and a few things that we want to bring up for topics, and then we'll open it up for you guys to be able to call in. So Tammy, anything that you would like to say about Matt before we get started, and then we'll talk about your exciting day.
Yeah, Matt was a wonderful, kind, highly spirited guy. I grew very close to him in the short period of time that since we met each other. We talked behind the scenes, and he came on Ladies of Liberty a couple times and helped us out as well. And he just was a very, very light, very happy, very easy breezy, go lucky type of guy, living life. Living life well, and loved his family, and loved being a part of Liberty Warrior Nation. So yeah, I knew that when I reached out to him and there was no response, I prayed. I prayed for the best. I prayed for the best for him and his family, and he will be sorely missed for a very long time. He's from Michigan, my home state, so we had that in common. We used to talk about different stories about being from Michigan, the different lakes and different areas that we would go and hang out growing up. When you're in Michigan, the woods are there, the government land there is pretty good to go on and camp and fish and just enjoy summers. And we shared that in common. So I'm just glad he was a part of my life for the short period of time he was. And I'll miss him. And once again, heart, soul, feelings going out in prayers to his family at this time. So that's
For
all about I can get out.
for the short time that I knew him, and the short time he was involved in our show, he also made many appearances across the internet on YouTube. Um, he would frequent Jeff Riddle and Craig DeHunter, and he was always there.
Mhm.
Um, always laughed. Had a better beard than me. Definitely had a lot more beautiful hair than I did, and just a jolly guy that I really enjoyed the conversations that he brought to
Mhm.
the table. And so, I don't know how many people know about it. I didn't see anything go across YouTube today. I thought maybe some other people might have found out about it, but it was sent to me this afternoon, and I just wanted to recognize him
Mhm.
um, for the great patriot that he was. So, folks, just keep the family in prayers. If I had a way to contact them, I sure would. I don't have any contact information, or I would reach out to him. But anyway, just we want to recognize him while we're doing the show. Like I
Mhm.
said, I'll drop the link, and you guys can call in here after Tammy and I get a few things that we want to talk about off our chest, and then we can tell stories about Matt, and celebrate his life. And then we got a little memorial that we want to do for him at the end of the show as well. So Tammy,
Yes.
it's been a wild day,
Yes.
and you've had quite the adventure today. Would you like to share?
Yes, and I'm giving God all the glory. Last night late, I got a text saying that a couple of people were going to be in town that I was interested in and going and hearing what they had to say. A couple of politicians, and so I left work early. I was able to get out early and take care of it, and I had the pleasure of meeting. Yes, that is Purdue, Mr. David Purdue there. Uh, from Georgia, and also Mr. Newt Gingrich. And Mike is so happy. We're going to start off with the funny part first, because my hair is sopping wet. I look a hot mess. And yes, I look like I'm from the 80s. When I sent Mike this picture, that is what he said. You came straight out of the 80s for this. But I said, you know what? I don't care. I had the pleasure. It was a small, intimate conversation. Newt is backing Purdue. And it was just such a phenomenal environment. I cannot tell you. Newt is the sweetest man, such an intelligent man. To listen to him speak at the podium was a dream come true. I mean, it was amazing. And it was just a last minute, spur of the moment thing. And I was spam texting Mike today. I mean, he had to do headline hits, and I just wasn't even paying attention. I'm like, dude, look, doom. And I'm like showing him empty podiums, and then the back, I'm like holding the camera up behind me because Newt's behind me, and then Purdue is behind me. And then I had to delete them because it was like half my face. It was just so bizarre. But it was an exciting time, and both of them spoke. I have to tell you, Purdue, Mike, is a very good speaker. Obviously, Newt, that goes without saying. We see him all over and been seeing him for a long time. But Purdue is a very good speaker as well. It was a group of probably about 80 to 100 people, and they were very gracious. I made friends with one of Newt's that was a bodyguard for Newt and Purdue, because, you know, that way the crazy lady coming up wanting a picture, they got to know me before I was like, ooh, I can have a picture. And a funny thing about this was when I asked for a picture, I asked the guy, I said, listen, it's bad lighting in here. I'm a woman. You got to make sure that you take a few rapid fire pictures. And he goes, it's not me taking it, it's him. I said, well, you better tell him, please. Otherwise, there's HE double toothpicks to pay. And that's why I'm talking there. And Newt and Purdue, it's not the friendly smile. It's like, oh, God, hurry up and get this lady away from me.
Breathe, Tammy. Breathe, Tammy.
Yes,
just breathe, Tammy. Did they ever say breathe to you? Did they ever say, Tammy, just breathe? You're good. We'll take the photo. You don't have to go any faster than this. We're gonna take the photo.
Okay.
I'm surprised you didn't end up in handcuffs.
I am too.
So you said that it was an intimate encounter.
Yes.
So in this room, about how many people were in the room with you guys? Was it like hundreds, thousands?
80 to 100, and I skipped over that because I was speaking so fast. You got to thank you
you're
for
going 100 mile
an
hour. Just
okay.
Bring it down. Pump the brakes a little bit. There we go.
It was like 80 to 100 people. And it was a very close, the room was closed in. It was like everybody was on top of each other practically. It was standing room only. And they both spoke for probably 10 minutes maybe. And some of the things that Newt said, which I took some notes, the write it down really does come in handy for sure. But Newt said we are in a very dangerous period he hasn't seen since the Civil War times. That he was
Newt around for the Civil War?
No, since Civil War times.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know.
All right.
Did I say that wrong, Mike?
Well, it almost sounded like he was. It was almost like you said he was around for the Civil War.
No,
and maybe I misheard it, but I mean I know Newt is not a spring chicken anymore, but
I know
you made it sound. I hope he's not listening right now. I really hope you did not tell him that you were with LWN, because if Newt is listening right now, sir, I don't know who this woman is. Sir, she just jumped on the show randomly. I thought it was a cool photo, so I thought I'd give her a chance to speak. And she's now saying that you've been around since the Civil War. So, sir, I apologize for that.
Many apologies. You got to keep me in line here, Mike. I'm going to take the hits because I probably am. I can't think right.
You're going crazy right now. So pump the brakes a little more. I know you're excited. I'm trying to interview you, but you're like derailing all over the place. It's like flinging toothpicks up in the air here.
Mike. I have notes that I want to get out. So, okay,
no,
you go ahead.
Where's Mary? Where's Mary when I need Mary? She can calm you down. Okay, so it was an intimate 80 to 100 people. They both spoke for around 10 minutes. You were getting ready to say what Newt was talking about, but you said, but he's been around since the Civil War. So
I retract that statement.
I'm gonna let you finish with Newt, and then I'm gonna ask a question about the other guy standing to the left of you. So
Okay.
calm down. Newt said that we haven't been in such a time since in history the Civil War. Not that he was part of the Civil War, right?
Right. Unless he teleported and there's time travel. But I think that's for another show, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, here we go. He also said that he was embarrassed by Heels Up, her laughter and comments when she was in Poland recently. So I thought that was pretty right on, because
He's
this
probably
man,
embarrassed. He's probably embarrassed of her, period, no matter when she speaks.
yeah, just looking at that man, Mike, I was like, the things he's seen, experienced, said, dealt with. And the poor man had to come out and talk about Kamala Harris. Like that's sad in itself, right?
Did you tell him that LW said hello?
I did tell he was in earshot. I did tell his bodyguard, I'm with Liberty Warrior Nation and we're on da 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 da. And I was gonna do YouTube and all that. And his bodyguard was like, yes, yes. And then as Newt came up, I went
If you
Liberty
get
Warrior
any
Nation.
closer, if you get any closer, I'm going to take you to the ground right now. That's probably what he was thinking. It's
He
probably what he
probably
said to you, lady. Back up. You're getting too close.
Well, because this is the professional picture in front of the sign and the flag, but I
Mhm.
got a personal picture with Newt when he came in. And so that I think I sent that to you as well. So that was when we were, becoming friends and buds. Like next
Mhm.
time he sees me, he'll probably say, "Hey Tam, how's it going from LWN?" I won't hold
There
my
you go.
breath, but I'm hoping. Okay.
Okay, so he was embarrassed of Heels Up.
Yes.
What else did Newt say? Because did you tell him I was a fan of his 1994 contract with America? Even though I just graduated high school, I was still a fan of Newt, even at that age. I was actually I did get into politics at that age. I was paying attention to Newt and to the Clintons and the whole shebang. I've been following Newt for quite a while.
Well, I did not get to tell him that, Mike. I apologize, but next go around, next time he's in town,
All
I'm
right.
going to try to have coffee with the man. We'll see how that goes. Because, I have people now, I have connections. No, I
All
don't.
right.
In my head, I do. All right. The other thing he was talking about was Mr. B, of course, the president, supposedly. He said, he called Putin a war criminal butcher, and for God's sakes, he should be gone. That's what Biden said, right? But then
And he
Newt
tried
came.
to walk that back. So he tried to walk that back. I reported today on headline hits that there there were um, there were reporters that called him out on that, and he tried to walk that back and then turn around and repeated it and said it again. So he's so confused he doesn't know what he says most of the time. But yes, he did say that. He did say that. Yes, correct.
He was saying then Newt came back and said it only took the White House like 8 minutes to retract it and say we don't want to hurt his feelings and blah blah blah. So Newt was like, that is a complete embarrassment as well. He was like, what is going on? And I wanted to yell some things out, but because I was representing your channel, I decided to stay as composed as I could because I was ready just to, if I wouldn't have said LWN at all to anybody, I would have probably done it. But, you have to, when you're that close to somebody, I'm not usually easily impressed with people, celebrities and stuff. But for some reason, Newt just, I couldn't like gather myself very well. And
Yeah,
as you,
he's an amazing man. He's an
yeah,
amazing man.
and brilliant man, brilliant man. Um,
He's very, very sharp. I watched him. I used to watch him quite a bit on Fox, and he'd come on Sean Hannity. He's as sharp as a whip. You're not getting anything past Newt. I'm a little disappointed, Tammy, in you, honestly, because you could have got LWN on the front page of every newspaper across America, and you did not do that. An arrest, handcuffs, and screaming LWN as on the hood of a cop car could have got us recognized all across the country, and you let us down.
I should have done that. Absolutely. But hey, I went to go inside that black SUV that Newt got out of when I first got there because I knew Purdue was probably hiding inside or just waiting. until it was time for him to come out. And I thought, I want to at least see what they have to say. I don't want to get arrested before it even starts. So I kind of backed away from it. But, there's something about seeing that black SUV, knowing it's not for you to take you away somewhere, right? But to know that they're coming out of it.
Till they start pulling out burlap bags and concrete boots.
Exactly. But he did also say that he's never seen a president do such great damage in such a short amount of time.
Wow.
And he said that, which was powerful, and we all know that, but for him to say it, a man of that stature, just the words coming out of his mouth was pretty amazing. And he said also the E thing, because we don't want to say the other word because we might get, he said that was rigged over months. It wasn't stolen the night of the E night. He said it was rigged over months. And that was pretty impressive for him to make a statement like that as well, I thought.
Okay, so hold on just a second. So he actually came out in public and said that that had been going on months prior to said November of 2020.
He did. He said it was rigged for months.
That's a pretty bold statement. That's a very bold statement in my opinion. That's a very bold statement. Even though he's probably technically not in politics anymore, I think he's pretty much retired. He still goes on a lot of national television shows, and they ask for his analysis of things and his opinion of things. Obviously he's there backing candidates for political office, so he is in politics and in the public eye, but he's not necessarily trying to run for any kind of office. I believe he's retired from that, but that's a very bold statement to make that Tammy.
Yeah, the next one, this one's the one that shocked me. He said Mark Z spent $415 million to influence the V in the Democratic areas, and most of that was spent here in Georgia. And he said Kemp took 16 electorals from Trump. And he said that Georgia needs someone smart enough not to try to make deals with Stacey Abrams, and that Purdue's your man. So I thought that was a lot of bombs to drop. When, Newt, he's, like you said, he's not running for anything, but for him to speak those kind of things and to support and endorse somebody, to me, that's very powerful.
Well, the other powerful thing there, Tammy, that I'm pulling out of that is he is still a major conservative influencer. Newt would be somebody, if I was running for an office, if he could get up on stage for 10 minutes and say something about me and say that he supports and backs me and endorses me, he's a very, very powerful influencer. In my opinion, I would say Newt is probably top 10 most influential conservative in the United States at this point, in my opinion. Now, there's probably people out there that would disagree with me, but I have to say he's top 10, probably top 5 influencers in the conservative party and movement. So with that being said, for him to go out and make statements like that, that's bold.
Yeah, and another comment about Newt personally is seeing him in that environment after being in politics all these years and being as powerful and an influential man as he is, the graciousness he showed to everybody. Because what happens when somebody like that walks into the room is everybody swarms, right? And you've got people like grabbing at him, shaking his hand, patting his shoulder, and everybody wants their 5 seconds to be able to spew what they need to spew to him because of the frustration of what's going on in this country. And that man sat there hanging onto the hands and saying, yes, and I understand. I heard Afghanistan thrown out there. I heard the Ukraine thrown out there. All these people were so eager to tell him what they needed to tell him in a short period of time because they knew their time was limited. But he was very gracious. And do you know, after the people kind of dispersed, he actually just started walking around the room, personally shaking everybody's hand. He made his way over across the entire room. And then, he spoke, and then Purdue spoke. And then afterwards, they were taking pictures and shaking hands.
Pause. So here's something that I'm listening to you tell us about your experience, and this is what I'm picking up. You got a man who was probably, in my opinion, one of the best speakers of the House back in the day. He was a driving force with the contract with America, which was, in my opinion, it wasn't perfect by any means, but it definitely was something that I felt like in that time frame in 1994 that they were really trying to um do the best they could for the American people. He's since been retired. I mean, he put his name in the hat a couple times to run for president. I
Mhm.
would have voted for him. I was excited for him when he said he was going to run for president of the United States, because again, I've been a fan since I was in high school. um, and And so you got a guy like this. He's retired. He comes on talk shows every now and again. You've got 100 people in a room attacking him, trying to shake his hand, trying to get a minute with him, hoping he's going to say hello, Tammy from LWN.
Yeah.
Any kind of recognition from this man, people were trying to get. People were probably wanting to try to have a conversation with him and tell them how they thought about policies
Mhm.
and what they thought was going wrong in this country, and probably to vent to him and bitch about Biden himself. But yet
Absolutely.
Biden goes all the way across the world and goes to our military and has a pizza party with them and can't even barely get 12 soldiers to show up. Every place that he goes where it's intimate like this, he can't get people to show up. Yeah, I seen him over in Poland where he had thousands of people out in the street, but that to me is not a sign of how popular the guy is. Um, this is a big deal to see and hear that these people were flocking to him, and the president of the United States, supposedly the president of the United States, he can't even get a dozen people to show him any kind of respect or any kind of time. You hear stories about him being in a certain town in America, and the military and the police line up on the road and they turn their backs to him as the motorcade's going by. Your thoughts on that, Tammy?
I think that's very good points and a very good analogy there, Mike, because people couldn't get enough of him, and they were very happy to see him. There was so much energy in that room. Like I was vibrating, and it was just a very good feeling. He gave you a sense of control, knowledge, truth, hope, and when he said the things that he said about, we he did say we need to fix this, and we need to get Purdue in here to start making some major changes. He says, who's running this country, what's happening to these representatives? So it was very powerful coming from him, because he seems like a voice of reason and knowledge. Like I said, I respect the man. In the short period of time, just seeing him, and you can tell in person. Like on TV they can edit stuff, or sometimes interviews are practiced, or they give you a script, and he didn't have a script. He just talked. And a lot of times when people just talk from the heart, you can tell if they're telling the truth or not. And he seems frustrated, and he wants to make a change, and Georgia here really does need a lot of help. So I'm hoping Purdue does win, and I hope Purdue is the guy that he's claiming to be. You know,
So, as he was crossing the room, shaking hands and kissing babies, do you feel like he represented, like one of those what they call a man of the people? They claim that Biden is a man of the people. Would you say Newt is or Biden is?
Newt. Newt. No matter what he was thinking, his face and the way he treated people showed everything to me. He was just so kind. Who knows what's going on in his mind? He knows, like I said, he's seen so many things that we haven't seen. He knows, I think, behind the scenes, obviously, things we don't know that we just hope or guess about. But I trust him. I trust him. Sometimes you just get that feeling from people, and I got that from him
That's awesome.
100%.
So So let's talk about Purdue there. He's running for governor of Georgia, and he's trying to replace him, if I'm understanding correctly, Kemp, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Kemp's time is coming short here. Tell us a little bit about Purdue.
Well, I have not known much about Purdue, but I'm going to say I was pretty impressed with him. He started off playing the video of Mr. T endorsing him at a rally, and everybody stood up and started clapping. So Mr. T on a video that's recorded can get the room standing up, going crazy, and the energy was
80 to
pretty
100 people, 80
just
to 100 people, and Biden can't even get 12 soldiers, more than 12 soldiers that want to have a pizza party with the commander in chief. It's crazy.
Yes, yes. So he played that, which was that was brilliant on his part, and he did come out and say that this is beyond Republicans and Democrats, that he feels that the people in office hate America, and he said that Mr. B and Barack both hate America. That look at
Yeah.
what they've done to this country and the decisions they made when they were in office. So I thought that was powerful for Purdue to come out and name not just Mr. B. Biden, but Barack as well. Purdue also said that he told Mitch McConnell and Trump both that he would not win the Senate race against Kemp. That he decided instead to try to help Kemp figure out what happened with this last situation with the V, and just to try to get things straightened out. He felt that's where he would serve best for the people. And he said all Kemp had to do was do something, anything, to figure out what happened this last time around and investigate why they shut things down and did the things they did. And he said he didn't do a thing. So now Purdue said, that's it. My hat's in the ring this go around. And I don't know if people know it or not, but Purdue has some lawsuits out there trying to get to the bottom of this stuff.
I had read on the other day on Podbean, and he brought up some unique ideas. Um, could it be that and I'm okay, this is 100% speculation, folks. Could it be that they are preparing for midterm 2022, and they're getting people put in the right places in key states like Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Arizona? Um, and when those key people are in those key positions, then they unleash what happened in 2020. Because right now, it's only speculation on my part, but right now, if you don't have the right people to fight this, which they've already tried to fight it's got dismissed and all kinds of roadblocks. But after midterms, if the Republicans end up owning a lot of this real estate that's needed, could it be, Tammy, that they decide to unveil certain things that happened in November of 2020, and now you've got a governor that backs it? You got an attorney general in Georgia that said that, I know the gentleman running for attorney general said that he's going to fight. Um, I mean, that kind of just rings in my ear a little bit. People in
Mm-hmm.
key states holding key positions could definitely help the cause, in my opinion.
Definitely. Purdue has also asked for the resignation of Brian Raffensperger, the Secretary of State here. What a
Correct.
mess he was and what he was involved in and stuff. So Purdue is really sticking his neck out there, and Newt is too, by supporting him. So if he's not on the up and up, that affects Newt as well, and his endorsement. So I think that there's a lot of interesting things that are going to come about here in Georgia. I'm hoping so. I know that Purdue also mentioned that he wants to get rid of the state income tax here in Georgia, that there's 6 or 7 states that already do. He goes, we need to get rid of that. He said also that we've talked about a lot on LWN is getting parents back in control of what their kids are being taught in schools. That's a big deal that he wants to run on and take care of, apparently. And then, like a lot of other cities, ATL, the crime here in downtown Atlanta and the Buckhead area, which Buckhead is a very nice area, they're trying to become their own little zoning of the city, because a lot of the crime from Atlanta is rushing into Buckhead area, and a lot of the businesses have shut down, and people are leaving there, and that's a nice community there. So Purdue's talking about getting control over that too. I've mentioned before as well on the show that the highway or getting off the highway ramp shootings are skyrocketing. I guess it's some kind of gang initiation that they do, and people don't even want to go down there. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people that have to use those freeways to get to work. They work there. So crime in Atlanta really needs to be handled and taken care of. So I hope to do more of these and see more of these speeches or talks behind the scenes like this. Like I said, a small little area, it seems like they felt a lot more comfortable. There were a few cameras, recording it and stuff, but it was a very interesting, exciting thing to experience.
That's awesome, Tammy. I'm glad that you got to experience it too. And what a wonderful picture with Newt and with Purdue, even though you had the 80s hair going on. It's cool. So here's something that I need to remind you about. And I need to remind everybody listening. I know that sometimes these people they say things, they have speeches that sound great. Hey, we want to give power to the parents for their children's education, which the parents never really did lose the power. We just fell asleep for a very long time. I know that they say things about how they want to do this and they want to do that, but Tammy, seriously, even though they say that, once they get elected, we got to remember we have to stay engaged and involved to hold these people accountable, because just because you vote for this guy because you like him today and then he gets in office tomorrow and a week from now he turns his back on all those promises and everything that he's been talking about, and next thing you know, we're right back in the same situation that we're fighting against today. So it's important for people to realize that they can't just vote for somebody and then cut them loose and think they're going to go take care of business. We got to hold these people accountable.
Absolutely. And I was told by some insiders that also Purdue's family's been friends with Kemp's family for a very long time. So once again, that gives me concern, unless he's, turned his back on all that and decides to run clean and be clean. And he really is for America, the country, the state, and everything being on the up and up. So, people can change, people can turn over a new leaf. So we'll see. And you're right, Mike. There's a lot more to this story once we see what happens. He reminded everybody that the next primary is only 8 weeks away. And guess what? I did not realize this. April 4th is when it's available for you to get absentee ballots. How far away is April 4th?
Not very far away. That would be about Tuesday of next week.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday of next week, and here we go again. So here's something else that it's been in my head for a long time, but Trump is going around the country doing rallies, keeping everybody jacked up. He's got tens of thousands of people at these rallies. He's promoting and he's stamping his approval on people like Purdue. We got Newt Gingrich doing the same thing. Like I said, in my opinion, it could very well be placing certain chess pieces on the board in certain locations on purpose before a great reveal. And I think it's a brilliant move if that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll have to wait and see. There's just a lot of different things going on. And Mr. T making his way around like nothing's changed is pretty amazing in itself,
Absolutely.
So that was it. So now I've settled down. Thank you for settling me down. Very good interview there, Mike.
Wow, man,
it was a lot of work, wasn't it?
Yeah,
challenging.
100 mile an hour. 100 mile an hour was just, I wanted to just say it all in 3 minutes. This got to be at least an hour show, So hopefully you didn't talk to Newt that way.
Mm-mm.
Hi, my name's Tammy. Blah 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 blah. And he'd be like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa."
I'm learning. No, the energy that I emit is enough. I learned how to talk a little slower, so I was just excited. Whew. I'm good
Yeah, it
now.
is exciting. I couldn't imagine what level of excitement I'd be on to get an opportunity to meet people like that too. So my day will come sometime. I'm sure I'm getting involved here in Idaho, hoping to get Eamon Bundy back on here. I know he was just in the news the other day too. Man,
Right?
that guy likes getting arrested. He definitely he's not afraid, and I like that guy. I like that about him. He's going to stand for what's right regardless of the consequence. And I can back a guy like that. I can back a guy who's solid in his belief and can't be shaken by somebody saying, "Well, if you do that, you're going to get arrested. If you don't wear a mask, I'm going to kick you out of the store." Who cares? Stand
Mhm.
for what's right. Stand for what you believe. So, I hope to get an opportunity to interview Eamon again. It was a great interview the first time, and we reached out to some of the other people here in Idaho running for governor, and didn't get the greatest responses. I mean, they reached back out to us, but just seems like Denise has had a hard time connecting. So it's a little
Mhm.
frustrating, but we'll see who else we can get to come on here and put this out, because midterms are just right around the corner. And so Teddy Daniels, Jackson Laymeyer, there's some people out there that we'd like to get back on the show and give them more time on the platform to put out their message and be able to allow people in those areas to hear what they have to say, and hopefully have some live interaction and some great questions.
Yeah. Well, getting involved locally is what we said we need to do. And, there's a lot of these different kind of meetings that when you sign up, or these gatherings, you don't realize how many there are. And there's a lot that are coming up that are breakfast, where you like pay $10 donation, you get to have breakfast, but you get to have, they talk, but you also get to ask questions. So I'm looking forward to that. So I would like to ask some questions, like you get to do it on the show, Mike, is cool. I know I get to too, but to be in person like that and to raise your hand and them answer your question would be amazing.
Absolutely. Yes, we do have Mountain Man coming back on. I'm not sure when he's scheduled, but I do know Denise has been in talks with Mountain Man, so he will make another appearance here soon. I don't know when that date is, but I know it's coming. There's some other things that were popping in the news today, and I didn't know how much of that you caught there, Tammy.
I got a couple things, and I'm going to address chat real fast, Mike, because I've seen a lot of people talking about Candace Taylor. Yes, I know about Candace Taylor here. I hope to attend an event with her, like just to any, if she's around or whatever, to see. I heard that some not good things happened to her because she was really the forerunner. For a while there, so I'll keep an eye out on that and try to see what I can find out more about that, you guys, as well. And I'm looking forward to it because I really liked her. She's the one that put out that really good commercial. I don't know if you saw it or not, Mike, about, she's walking through the city and talking about all the different
Yes.
things going on.
Yes,
Remember it?
I do like her. I do like her a lot. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I only saw that one commercial, but if you can somehow go to one of her next deals, and let her know who you are, and see if we can't get her to come on Ladies Night, or interview me with me or whatever.
Yeah.
Would love to have her come on the show. I was impressed with the commercial, but sometimes that's all it is a huge, big spotlight. So we'd like to dive a little bit deeper into some of those questions, and give them an opportunity to speak and answer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the other thing that I caught recently in the news was about, we keep talking about Hunter Biden's laptop. Jack Maxey possesses a copy of that. He released 253 emails concerning all his business dealings. And it's a company called Meta. It's a DoD contractor. They're operating in the Ukraine. They specialized in pandemic causing diseases. And Hunter introduced Metabiota to Burisma, which I found interesting. You can actually check out all the email dumps off of Jack Massey's Getter account. I don't know what his Getter account is, but I found that pretty amazing. That Maxey also said that the world is not ready for everything my team has found out. And he said, my only advice is to control your rage and look to the Constitution to save us first.
Bam.
Ba-boom.
That was like a fly swatter right across the face. that stung a little bit. my cheeks are rosy red.
Yeah. I mean, it's just,
wow.
Moscow did claim that Hunter helped finance a military so-called research program in the Ukraine. And it seems like, according to the Daily Mail, it's partially true with this release of these emails and these texts. I mean, this Jack Maxey guy has the laptop, or one of them. So that came out this week, and I haven't had time to look into the emails. I don't know if anybody in chat has, or if you've had, but it'll be interesting to read what they all have to say, right? What they transpired in those. It's a lot.
Yeah, I think I reported on it yesterday, how they actually went after him and destroyed his livelihood because he put some of that information out. And I don't think we've seen the last of Hunter Biden's laptop. I think there's going to be some stuff that actually comes out even more. I think, well, from what I've heard, a lot of it is really disgusting. A lot of it we don't want to see.
Right.
Too gruesome to see some of the pictures that are on the laptop with young ladies. And of course, his father is connected in so many ways. It's undeniable, and it keeps getting. I think the water's getting hot. I think the water is starting to simmer, and I think it's going to boil, and I think they're going to get in a situation where they can't get out, and it's I believe it's coming. I really do.
Well, another interesting data point I found was that the New York Post was banned for saying that the laptop was fake, and the New York Times finally had to admit. Guess how long time frame that was? 17 months.
Well, yeah, 17 months. I knew it was getting close to 2 years. They came out and said that they did get banned. It got swept under the carpet. I did another report on that as well, where now they're finally saying, oh, it's real, it's real, it's real. Well, we all know it was by design why they swept that under the carpet. They all knew that would affect the election of 2020. They knew that if that all came out, it would have swayed things. Well, I don't think you could sway it much more than it was, but it definitely would have impacted that whole situation for sure.
Absolutely. Did you catch how many months, Mike?
Let's see. Did you say 17?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a good number.
We'll slide past that.
I remember when I was 17. When I was 17, I was going to rock concerts, and I was kicking ass, taking names.
I bet you were.
That number 17, it kicks ass and takes names.
It sure does. This also came out. A former Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice, Michael Gableman, he has testified to the Elections Committee that Mark Z conspired and funded parties to defeat President Trump in the 2020 election. So that's the Trump versus Hillary lawsuit that came out. So basically, he's not going after her per se. It's mostly her assets by unveiling some of this stuff in the lawsuit. So I thought that was amazing, because Trump also said that Clinton, along with the Democratic National Committee, James Comey, and National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, and there's over a dozen other people, they orchestrated the plot to undermine not only his campaign, but his administration, and that false narrative about Russia, Russia, Russia. So Trump in the lawsuit basically said it was illegal espionage. And I thought that was interesting verbiage. And the complaint also argues the alleged conspiracy falls under racketeer influenced and corrupt organizations, which is the RICO Act, which is the lawsuit that was originally passed to prosecute the mafia. Dun, 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 dun.
Ow, another fly swatter across the face. It's just pay attention, folks. It's all It's all coming out. Where it goes from here, I don't know, but it's very interesting. It's a great time to be alive because there this this has never happened in history. This is just crazy.
And one more little bit of tit I have for you there.
Okay, give us
Congressman,
the crumble here.
there's the crumble. Congressman Daryl Issa, which I haven't heard of him before, really. He's out of California. He put the White House, Jen Psaki, is it Psaki, Ron Klein on notice not to delete or destroy any evidence of their coordination and collusion in the Hunter Biden laptop scandal. He also put on notice John Brennan, James Clapper, and other Democratic partisans in the Intelligence Committee. He also put Mark Zuckerberg and Meta, that Meta, is it Meta or Meta, on notice. There's
Meta, which is
documentation.
Facebook. Yeah,
Yes.
Facebook.
So he's put all these people, and he's from California, Republican from California. So he's got legal paperwork telling them and sent out to them that they're not allowed to touch or do anything. Now, once again, to me, it's optimistic that somebody's taking action and doing something. I like seeing movement like this. That gives me hope, and it makes me feel like there's people that really care about this country trying to stand up and fight, you know?
Mm-hmm. I agree. Durham is coming back out with, in my opinion, there's going to be some more indictments. What comes of it, I don't know. But yeah, Facebook definitely played a huge part in 2020, and I think that's also going to come to light. And I believe my hope, my optimism is the people that played a part in the Facebook will will be justice will be served for all of us because we all know during that time we were censored completely. We weren't allowed to promote any other person than the Democratic Party, and I got taken down several times because of it. They didn't want to hear the truth. You couldn't post anything negative about the Democrat Party, even if it was true. They didn't want any of that stuff circulating, and it was a plan and it was a group effort, and we all know it. The evidence is starting to come out, and I think people are going to they're going to get caught.
Yeah. A lot of moving parts, but you look at the depth and the tentacles of all the corruption all around, and it's taken a long time to gather evidence and put it into documentation and do it legally in the right way. And you know, people can't trust people and what they say. They want to see the legit documentation. You know, they because not everybody agrees with what's going on, and there are some people that still back Biden and his administration. So you have to show them in the documentation and go the legal route. We just hope that it's a bit speedier than the normal route, because sometimes things take too long. And I agree with you. I think everything needs to get fixed from the last to go around from you know, the E. And if we don't, we're in big trouble. So I like to stay optimistic by finding these little bits of nuggets out there that show people are taking action and doing things.
Yeah, Tammy, and you're good at finding that too. So I'm going to say something that I think is funny. Um, some people may not find it that funny, but for those people that still support this administration, this fake administration, I really hope they can't reproduce because we don't need any more of that DNA on this planet.
Mm-mm. None at all. None at all. It's funny.
I hope they're past their prime. I really do. We don't need any reproduction of those people that still support this administration. That's for sure.
Said the only the way you could say it, LW. Only the way you could say it.
Well, I think it's time to go ahead and drop the link. Again, you guys want to call in and make comment about Tammy's excursion today, go ahead. If you guys want to talk about some of the topics we just covered in some of the news, you're welcome to do that. I'd really like to have at least one person or so call in and just give us their fondest memory of Matt. Again, we're celebrating Matt's life tonight. I've got a little thing that I want to share with you guys here in a minute. We'll do a moment of silence for Matt. So I hope you get around for that and show the man some respect and his family, that we do care here at LWN for the impact that Matt had on my life and our lives in LW. If you guys want to share those stories, I'll take a few callers tonight. I'll drop the link here in just a second. You can call in and share that with us. And then War Machine did a nice little background for us. So Tammy, we'll probably go ahead and take callers and just kill your camera, and I'll kill mine, and we'll put it up there for Matt toward the end so everybody can see it. And I want to share that with everybody. But here's the link. We'll take a few callers here before we wrap it up tonight. Yeah, just want to celebrate his life. I know it's sad that he's no longer with us, but I know for a fact in all the personal conversations that I had with Matt, he was a born again Christian. He served God, and I know for a fact where that man is right now. He's up above, sitting with the Father, and he's looking down from heaven at us, and he's just I'm sure he's smiling. I'm sure he's happy that we're celebrating his life, and I'm sure he's greatly missed from his family, but he is in a better place. And from the sounds of the article, there was some underlining issues in health that maybe he was suffering. I don't know, and now he's in a better place.
Absolutely. I bring up in chat here, Mike. I forgot to mention this regarding the DoD. There were encryption codes that were good for 20 years on Hunter's laptop. Thanks, Kevin, for reminding me. I did see that and I skipped over it, but that's another question to find out, why does Hunter's laptop have 20 years worth of encryption codes on there?
Yeah,
to decipher?
I heard that too. I see Shane in the back. He turned his camera on for me.
Okay.
So I see
good.
you, Shane. Yeah, I just need everybody to turn your camera on when you come up. I won't let anybody on the show that doesn't show their face. So let's bring Shane in. How's it going, Shane?
Pretty good, bud.
Hey, Shane.
Lots of things this evening. That was a full of information today that made me cry. Made me happy, and it just pissed me off all at the same time. The deal with Matt, oh my God, that still's got me jacked up. But I don't know what to do about that, and I don't know what to say about that, other than he was a great dude.
Yeah, he was. Absolutely.
Tammy's ordeal with Newt, I think that is phenomenal. I think that should go down in the books, the history books, because it's not every day you get to meet with him. Newt Gingrich is a icon of all icons. So that's
he is. He's a pillar.
Oh my God, he is. So yeah, that's phenomenal.
Well, thanks, Shane. Instead of saying Tammy getting to meet him, she said Tammy's ordeal with Newt Gingrich. So apparently I have ordeals in situations, right? Right, Shane? Just not a normal meeting with the guy.
I can't give you credit because then it goes to your head and shit, we can hardly get you in and out of the room the way it is.
Oh goodness.
But no, it's one of those deals that, man, there was a lot of information tonight. There was a lot of good information tonight, and there was something else I was wanting to mention on, and it was something you just said here recently, Mike. And my mind went blank when I started talking about Matt. So I apologize.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's going to be missed.
Yeah, the first time that I ever seen Matt was on Jeff Riddle, I believe it was. He called
Yes.
into the Jeff Riddle show, and Matt is a retired police officer. He served our country in the military as well, and God love Jeff Riddle. He's not a big fan of police. He makes it well known that he's not a big fan of police officers. And when he found out that Matt was retired, um, there was some back and forth there a little bit, but Matt got along with everybody. He got along with everybody on every show. I don't think I've ever seen him um, get into scuff with anybody. He was always full of good information and advice. I know he called in the show several times with us, Shane, and tried to give people a little bit of advice when it come to laws and law enforcement. I know the ladies like Matt. I know a lot. He got a lot of compliments on his beard and how manly he was.
Gorgeous beard.
So Matt definitely he had an impact on a lot of our lives, and I don't want to ever forget that. And I want people to realize that even though it's sad that he's no longer with us, we want to lift him up and lift his family up and recognize his life for what it was. He was a great patriot. He was a great man, a great father, a husband, and son, and a Christian, and just a good friend, all around guy. He was a good all around guy, and we want to celebrate that tonight.
Yeah, he always wanted to help too, Mike. He wasn't afraid or embarrassed to share his stories about his life and the journeys he went through that weren't always good, but the bad got him to the good and where he was at when he came on the show. And he loved to tell jokes and just he was just nice and mellow, for all that he went through and he's seen as a police officer and other things, he still was very mellow and very even keeled. And I respect that. Somebody that can endure so much and just continue and be so optimistic and give the glory to God like he did is good in my book. How do you beat that? We all had so much to learn from him in that aspect.
Absolutely. For those of you who don't know who we're talking about, Matt, he went by the handle of Tactical Tonto on YouTube here, and we knew him by Tactical Tonto. Some people knew him by Matt, but he became a good friend, and he came on the show quite a few times. So he's been around. We got another caller here. Let me bring in John E. How are you doing this evening, John?
Well, I'm just like everybody else. I guess we struggle when we lose a patriot, and that's difficult. And Matt always had good information, and like everybody's already said, an even guy. But I think more importantly to remember is the man of God, and let's trust that God, he's resting with God, and no more suffering. That's a big deal. And then I wanted to let Tammy know that I got to meet Mr. Newt. I attended a Southern Leadership Conference for the Republican Party. And I delivered a contract because Newt was the designer of the contract for Americans. Well, the Tea Party wrote up a similar contract, and I delivered it to every one of the headline speakers, and Newt was right there at the top. And I actually, later in the evening, I had a drink with Newt, and then Marissa, his wife, and then with Ted Cruz, before he was Senator Ted Cruz. But at any rate, out of all the people that I handed this notice to in this contract to, the only one, and these are all Mike Pence, all of the top shelf Republican leaders, senators and congressmen were there, even our Louisiana governor. When I presented it to him, the only man that took the time to stand and read every word of it and to shake my hand and with an agreement and tell me, he goes, this is something of value that every American needs to take this action. Thank you, sir. And that was it. But I mean, he's a great guy. and he's very knowledgeable. I don't know. I hold him in a very high esteem. But then today, when we break on past that and we get to the Hunter situation, there were two private. There was a hit to where Gates. They are interviewing the cybersecurity, FBI's top cybersecurity guy. And Congressman Matt asked him if he had seen the Hunter laptop and were there any security issues with that laptop. And this guy wouldn't even address it, wouldn't even talk about it, wouldn't even acknowledge that he knew anything, something that was not his purview. This is this is the head of the FBI cybersecurity.
Wow.
And he just danced around. But Matt Gaetz was like, at the end of it, when old Jim tried to shut him off and move along, he said, well, I have a copy of those laptops. He had a big thumb drive. He goes, and I want this introduced into evidence. Well, old Nadler tried to just move along. He didn't want to hear anything about it. And he goes, no. And so he finally got them to accept it. They wouldn't do it on TV. It was on Rumble where I watched it. But then the next guy that comes along is Jim Jordan. And Jordan nailed his butt and said, okay, so you're the head of the cybersecurity. Mr. Gates wants to question you, not about just what's on the laptop. We don't care about the pictures or anything else, but the fact that there are security concerns that have been brought to our attention and shared with us that we have, and you, the FBI, don't know anything about it. But yet these computers and laptops have been in the FBI's possession, and the head guy from cybersecurity has never seen them. And he goes, I want you to tell me yes or no. Have you seen Biden laptops? So some of them wouldn't answer.
Wow.
He said, I'm not going to go into that. It's out of my purview. But the heat's coming up.
And, right there, that is BS. Everybody's seen it. Everybody's heard it. Everybody's watched it. And you know damn good and well that is a flat out lie. I'm sorry. Even half of America's seen that crap.
Jim Jordan. Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, here's the deal. I don't think we've seen where he had top security crap going on computer deals because he's emailing back and forth to his dad under his days Secret Service code name. And that's supposed to be on a secured doing that just but before because he's responding on a private, laptop.
Well, and that stuff's not supposed to be. That stuff's not supposed to be.
Hunter is in China negotiating and emailing back and forth.
That's
just not supposed to happen.
A lot of that shit's not even supposed to be brought up in public because it's on a private line. That's the thing.
And I guarantee you, Hunter does not have a top security clearance.
Oh,
I just got my doubts about
it. Yeah,
that.
come on.
Yeah, no kidding. John, you're breaking up really bad, and your signal's weak. So I don't know where you are.
No, look at that yellow signal.
Yeah,
I'm under my carport hitting my fag.
So I'm gonna drop the link. I'm gonna drop the link one more time. Anybody would like to call in and just give us a memory of Matt, Tactical Tonto. I'll take one last caller and then we're gonna wrap this up tonight. I got my phone's blowing up. There's some things I got to go take care of. So yeah, his voice is being interfered with. I see Diamond and Scad both in chat. If one of them would like to or even both of them want to grab that link and hop up here and just
Yeah.
share your fondest memory of Matt. We're celebrating that. Again, if you guys would please stick around. We just want to have a moment of silence. We want to have a moment of silence for Matt, and I'm going to do that here in just a minute. So anybody else want to hop up here real quick? I'm going to just give you a couple more minutes here, and then we're going to wrap it up. So I've got my cousin that needs my attention here, and they're blowing up my phone. So I'm going to have to get off of here quick.
Mhm.
But I'll say this about Purdue. I'll say this about Purdue. I think Gingrich is awesome. I think he's a wonderful person. I think, yeah, there's people back in Purdue. Purdue kind of cowered it out last time. It shows me he's weak. And I'm not impressed with him. Not saying he's a bad dude. Don't get me wrong. I'm just not saying he's a good. He's weak. And if you're weak, sorry. You either stand your ground or you don't. Period. And he backed down. And I will not support that man. And it's not because he's a bad person. It's because he showed weakness when he needed strength. So what's he going to do in Congress?
Good point, Shane.
That's not a bad point at all. It's hard to find anybody as strong as Trump. You know, it really is. That's the example, and that's the standard now that we expect and want now, Mike.
He set the bar. Set the bar so high. We're going to measure every person, man and woman, that comes about by Trump's thick skin and able to just take everybody on. We got Scad Warrior and Diamond Lil I want to bring in here before we have our moment of silence, because I know they shared time with Matt, Tactical Tonto, on many occasions as well. Ladies, welcome to LWN. How are you this evening?
Well, very sad.
Yeah, it's very sad news. So I'm gonna go to Diamond first. Diamond, I don't know if you can get through it, but would you mind sharing a story of Matt?
No, just like the story that you shared, that was the first time I ever met Matt. He came up
him
on
and Jeff
panel.
Riddle.
Oh my gosh. Jeff just has such a big dislike for police. And when we found out that Matt was a retired officer, things got really interesting. But you know,
yes, it did. But there was no disrespect. Jeff did not disrespect Matt, and Matt did not disrespect Jeff. It was a great conversation, and that was the first time I seen Matt too.
Yeah, and I think Matt might have just slightly changed Jeff's view on police.
I agree.
Yeah, it was just, and what a nice man. He was talking about how he was retired, and you know, a couple of times he called in. He was in his camper. He was out hunting and camping, and just a nice gentleman. My heart and prayers go out to his family, because he did talk about his wife and his kids. And another thing too, on your show, he was talking about how he helped try to save a gentleman. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I brought it up in the team meeting, I think, today when we got the news. Yeah. It was actually a vet, and I don't remember if the vet was active or non-active or retired or what it was, but he had been he had some evil that had a grasp of him.
Yes.
And it was at the same time that Matt was scheduled to come on LWN. To be honest with you, he was up north hunting, or he was camping or doing something. And Matt drove, I believe it was a white Dodge, and he pulled into the parking lot of a church that he actually went to the church. So when he was up hunting, he would actually go to this church. He knew the pastor very well. And so he pulled into the parking lot to do the show with us.
Yeah.
And because he needed to get cell phone service, and obviously he couldn't get cell phone service in the woods. And so as he was sitting in the parking lot doing a show with me, a live show, the pastor actually looked out and saw this white truck out there and recognized it. It was Matt. And he came out to him and said, "Hey, Matt, how you doing?" Matt says, "Well, I'm up here camping or hunting or whatever he was doing." He goes, "Man, I got a situation here and I could use some help." And the reason why is because Matt had experience in this area. Matt had a little bit of a dark road that he traveled down for a percentage of his life, and then he ended up giving his life to Jesus Christ. And so the praise report in the story is the fact that Matt went to this young man and was able to witness to him and to extend help.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. I was bawling the night he told us that. I was literally just sitting there and I was sobbing because it was just such a sweet story.
And there was 3 of us. It was me, Matt, and I know Shane was around, but it seemed like there was one other person as well. And it was a very emotional night. It was a very, very emotional night for all of us men.
Yeah,
it was all men.
I was there. It was me, you, and he called in.
Yes.
Yeah, well, he was on the show. He was part of the show that night, but there was one other person, and it might have been remote. I'm not sure, but there was another person there too as well with us. And it was a very, very emotional night. And I had such more respect for Matt after that show that we did. And he'd been on the show a few times, and he'd come on the outdoor show that we do on Saturdays, and he'd always hop in there with a smile on his face. He'd love to talk about hunting. He'd love to talk about deer hunting. That's the one thing that he really enjoyed doing in Michigan. And he had many stories to tell about him and his dad and his uncles and all that stuff. And so a very, very wonderful man. Scad, would you like to share something?
Yeah, I just remember him being so real, and he always had this great like hats and shirts and things like that. It was just unusual. It just looked like the true outdoorsman kind of thing, and he did have some demons that he was fighting at one time. And in the very, very beginning, you could kind of see, whoa, what's going on. But then later, like you said, he gave everything to the Lord. And he did speak a lot about his family. And my heart goes out to them. I just thought he was a really honest person, whether it was uncomfortable for people or not. And I really admired that.
That's awesome. Nikki says it was Rage in the Cage was on with us that night, and it very well could have been. So ladies and Shane, if you guys don't mind, I'm gonna just ask you guys to kill your cameras. You don't have to leave. I'm gonna say a prayer to close us out tonight. But if everybody just kill their camera, I'm going to pull up what War Machine had created for us for tonight, just to remember Matt. And so if you don't mind, we'll just have a moment of silence here for Matt, and then I'm going to go ahead and pray us out. I'll wait for it to show up on YouTube here. I know it's kind of big on the screen. I wasn't able to fix it, but it says in loving memory of Matt Tactical Tonto. So we'll just go ahead and give him a moment of silence. Dear Heavenly Father, I just come to you this evening, Lord. as we're closing out this show, thank you for the wonderful time that we've got to spend together and share Tammy's story of meeting Newt this morning, Lord. Thank you for allowing Shane and Johnny and Scad Warrior and Diamond Lil to also come up and share stories about Tactical Tonto, Matthew, Lord. And we reach out to the family, Lord. And we just pray a hedge of protection around them right now, Lord. We just pray in their time of need and this grieving process, Lord, that you just will touch their hearts and give them a comfort and a peace, Lord, knowing that Matt is now with you. Lord, I just ask that you will bless their family. Lord, I just ask that in the coming days, the coming hours, the coming weeks, as more channels out there remember Matt, that they can all share the joy that he brought to their lives. Lord, I just thank you for the opportunity that I got to share with Matt and all the times he called in to LWN. And Lord, I just ask that everybody watching tonight and leaves tonight, that they just know that there is a peace and a comfort in their hearts, knowing that Matt is now with you, Lord. And I thank you for all of that in your son's precious name. Amen. All right, folks, thanks for joining me tonight. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for Devotions with LW. I've got headline hits tomorrow afternoon at 12 Eastern, right here on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. And then we'll be back tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. God bless. Love y'all. Have a great evening. We'll see you in the morning.
Hoping for a sincere performance, but open to finding the moment, to finding out where I'm headed now. Looking for a sign of disaster, so I can make it there faster. I'm weighing the consequences out.